If someone's listening to this and they've never heard of somatic therapy before, how would you describe it to someone?
I'd describe it as a body-based approach to therapy. So you're going to have your talk therapy, which is like psychotherapy, counselling, CBT. We talk about that as being a top-down approach. Mm-hmm. So it's about talking about your issues and making sense of them. So the difference is on a somatic level, it's a body-up approach. So it's going with the body. So a lot of the time, I'm not too focused on the story. I'm more focused on what's happening in the body as the story is being told. What's the response? What's the reaction? Notice what that is. And then to support it from that level. And what I find really interesting in it is that from it, people make their own sense of it. Mm-hmm. Like from being with that, tracking what's going on inside, and and resourcing as well. Like sometimes that stuff is big. There's a reason why we're not feeling it. It's too much. So with the somatic work, what's really key is what we call titration, where we drop it in a little bit at a time, not too much. And to really track where that person's at, like really check in, like is this okay? If it's too much, we switch it up, we take a break. Because as soon as we bring awareness to that area, we're already in, we're already, feeling it, moving it, being with it. So we can take breaks. And often, we know how to shut it down. That's something we can all do very easily. There's ways we do that. So bringing that in as a resource of, if it gets too much, exactly how to shut it down. Just go for it, do it. So there's a lot about, taking care of that person where they're at. They're not going to do anything they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So there's a massive consent piece. It's really supporting the person, the body, and the person. So you can have somatic therapy with people that, it's really focused on the body. And then there's other forms as well, which make it a bit more relational. So there's a form called Neuroaffective Relational Model, NARM, developed by Lawrence Heller. He brings in more the relational aspect, how you feel about that. What's your relationship with that? What I tend to find with people is that who are really struggling and they've got the anxiety, they've got all these stress disorders going, a key thing that's happening with them is their relationship with themselves. Their relationship with having these emotions, their relationship with anger, which is normally a big one, where we're not digesting it, we're kind of, shutting it down because it's not been safe. And so when we look at that, it leads, the story can come out that, when they were little, if they were angry, if someone was angry when they was little, they were probably told off, shut down, or, put in a room, go to the naughty step. So the message is that you're not allowed to experience this. You're not allowed to have anger. It's not safe to have anger. Because if I have anger, I'm then naughty. I'm then disconnected from my primary caregiver, whoever that may be. So there's this relational aspect as well, which tends to show up a lot. Like you can have people that come in for like a medical trauma. But what we find is that we're going back to childhood. Like, how were they supported when they were in need? Were they able to express their need? So a lot of the time we're supporting all of that before we even get to the piece that they've come in for.
So can you walk us through perhaps an example of a specific client? So obviously don't need to mention any names. But say, for instance, okay, Bob came to see me. Bob had whatever it was. The first thing I did was this, and what we found was this. And then the next thing we did was, can you kind of walk us through an example?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I can give you more of a general idea of what happens. Like when I see somebody, I will send them out the intake form, right? Questions that I will ask them, because oftentimes just these questions activate us. Just them bringing it up, and even just having a 20-minute phone chat with them brings up a lot of emotion. And even there, to show them techniques of, okay, we're just going to slow it down, feel the chair, feel things like that. So in the first session, you know, we're doing an intake form, and even in that, I'm watching their body and watching how they're responding and slowing it all down. So we're not just rushing through it and just being with it all. So, like, you want an example, if I think of somebody, to put pause on this, I have to
That's
think.
all right, that's all right.
Who can I think of? I mean, I had a really beautiful experience yesterday with somebody. So I had somebody who we've been working for a while, and actually, normally at the beginning of a session, I would say, is there something you'd like to work with? Is there something, how would you like to spend the time together? And with this person in particular, they were just like, actually, things are pretty good. I don't really have anything. And I was just like, okay, let's be with that. And then into that, she'll come up with, you know, actually, I realised how I realised my past experiences don't have to take me down anymore. They don't affect me as they used to do. And then it will just be like, okay, so notice that. And then this massive breath comes in. And she's like, it's such a relief. It's just such a relief to know it's not going to take me out anymore. And it's just like, okay, can you stay with that? And as we let that relief come in, and so, you know, I usually say something like, allow every cell in your body to experience that relief from having been on alert. And she'll even mention, you know, I've been on alert for 50 years, and finally I don't feel like I need to do that. And it's like, how is it to just stay with that? So we stay with that. And then what's really nice, well, not for me to witness, maybe not for her, is that her body starts to do this thing we call like pendulation, which, you know, our bodies should do really, but we kind of forget to because we repressed it. So in this pendulation, she's nice and resourced, she's in this positive place, and then a bit of activation comes in. She starts to remember something, and then the constriction comes in. She says, oh, I just remember, you know, having photos taken and my body's all constricted. I'm having to smile and put on a show, and, you know, I've got this image of me as a little girl, just, you know, and all this. And I was like, oh, what's it like to be with that? She was like, oh, yeah, I can feel the constriction again. And I was like, is it okay just to allow that constriction to be here? Let's be aware of the part of you that didn't want to be in that position. You know, and then she stays with it, and then gradually posture starts changing and hands start opening up, and then she's like, oh, there's another memory now of this, my favourite picture of me and my dad in the garden, and the hands start doing something different. So there's this nice pendulation going back and forth of, okay, there's something nice, and then something triggering comes in again. She's like, oh, Mum's going to come home soon, and the body constricts again. And then it's so what does this part need? This part that's just constricted and scared. What does this part need? And then from there, it's just like she needs her own space. And then she'll be like, I really enjoy my own space as much as I love my husband. I love my time by myself. I love it. I love the freedom. And I was like, I feel that freedom again. So there's this nice pendulation where I don't have to do anything. I'm just moving along with them and getting them to slow down. So that kind of happens. It's nice to see that after a few sessions with them. But in the beginning, when I'm working with people, that's kind of the thing I try and bring in, this pendulation of, okay, there's activation. If there's been an activation for a bit too long, I might just try and resource them so that they can just, feel their resources again. And then when they're up for it, just like, would you like to just put in a little bit of activation in again? And then we bring that in and track what's going on.